friends, welcome to Tarunayas. Today we will be discussing daily current affairs of 31st of October 2022. So let's start with first news of the day. The first news is about blue flag certification. Now India, after the addition of the beaches from the Lakshadweep, India has total 12 beaches under the blue flag certification. Now recently India has new addition of blue flag beaches from Lakshadweep Island. The name of the two beaches are the Mini Koi Tundi Beach and Kadmat Beach. Both these beaches have been given blue flag certification, and this makes India has total 12 beaches under blue flag certification. Now what is this blue flag certification is? Basically, in order to promote the sustainable development of the freshwater and marine areas through and sustainable beach tourism, in 1985 an NGO from Denmark by the name Foundation for Environmental Education started giving eco-labeling to the beaches, and since 2001 it started to spread out to other parts of the Europe, and I mean outside the Europe. It promotes the sustainable development via four main criteria. The first is the water quality, the quality of the water around the beaches, the environmental the environmental management, for example, the cleaning and preservation and the conservation of the marine animals and the freshwater species, the environmental education to the people who visit beaches and the people who are involved in the management of the beaches, and the safety and security of the people visiting the beaches, for example, the lifeguards and the life saving jackets and all, everything that is needed to secure the people who visit beaches, and in order to promote the sustainable development of the beaches, this blue flag certification is given. Now, as I told you that this certification is awarded by FEE, which is Foundation for Environmental Education, and an NGO which is based in Denmark. 48 countries participate in this program currently, and there are approximately 5,042 beaches and marinas that have been given this certification, and India had total 10 beaches, and after addition of the Mini Koi Tundi beach and the Kadmat beach of the Lakshadweep Island, it becomes total 12 beaches. So you should remember what all these beaches are, so that it's not a big deal to remember the names of these beaches. The first one is the Sivrajpur in the Gujarat, the Goshal in DU, the Kasargod and Kapad beaches in Kerala, the Padubidri beaches in Karnataka, Rushikonda beach in Andhra Pradesh, and Golden beach in Odisha, Radhanagar in Andaman and Nicobar Island, Kovalam beach in Tamil Nadu, and Eden beach in Puducherry. Let's move on to the next news of the day. The next news is about the Kalanamak rice variety. So this is how the Kalanamak rice variety looks. It is basically black in color, and it has a very strong fragrance. Now the story behind the Kalanamak rice variety's popularity in the state of Uttar Pradesh and the Terai region of the Nepal, and especially around the district Sravasti of Uttar Pradesh, that Lord Buddha, when he had visited Sravasti region, he gave the rice variety to the people of Sravasti, so that the people of Sravasti remember Lord Buddha by the fragrance of this rice. So and therefore this rice it has a very strong fragrance. However, there was a consistent problem that the farmers growing the Kalanamak rice variety faced, was that when this particular crop variety it grows, it gets laden with lot of grains at the top of the plant, which becomes heavy for the stem to sustain the weight. Therefore the plant falls and ultimately dies. So this used to lead to crop loss. Therefore the Indian Agriculture Research Institute what it did, it made a hybrid variety. It made a hybrid variety using two different Indian varieties, and so that to resolve this problem, and it has named these dwarf varieties of Kalanamak as Pusa Narendra Kalanamak 1638 and Pusa Narendra Kalanamak 1652. Now what happens? Now what happens with the dwarf varieties, and why these dwarf varieties are very important for the farmers? The first reason is the attainment of the maturities. The dwarf varieties attain early maturity. That means their photoperiodism to attain maturity is less. Thus, since they gain maturity early, therefore they produce higher yield, and because the stem gets strong, and also the number of the grains at the tip of the plant are reduced, thus promoting higher yield. Thus, this Kalanamak variety, it came into news, and it has already been granted, sir. The traditional Kalanamak variety already has a GI certificate, which is Geographical Indication Certificate, and in the application of the GI, it has been mentioned that Lord Buddha had gifted Kalanamak paddy to the people of Sravasti so that they remember him by its fragrance. Let's move on to the third news of the day, which is that dolphins returns to river Ganga with improvement in water quality. And what dolphins? We are talking about the Gangetic dolphin. So Gangetic dolphins were officially discovered in the year 1801. They live in the Ganga, Brahmaputra, Meghna and Karnafuli Sangu river system. They are essentially blind. By essentially blind means that means the freshwater species which lives in freshwater, it does not migrate to the sea water, and it is essentially blind. That means it cannot see. Though how, if they cannot see, then how do they locate their position and how do they travel such long distance? It is by using echolocation. This echolocation is also used by the bats and this dolphins. Now what is this echolocation? Now what happens, the animals, for example the bat and for example the dolphin, they emit ultrasound rays, sounds. They emit ultrasound waves. Now these ultrasound waves, they travel to a certain distance, and when there is an obstacle in between, they revert back, and the distance covered by the ultrasound waves from going to an object and then reverted back is actually calculated by the brain of these organisms, and that's how they are able to locate their position and they are able to navigate around their surroundings. They are able to navigate. So basically, to navigate they use echolocation. Gangetic dolphins are our aquatic national bird, which was declared by the Government of India in the year 2009. That, however, the species is under threat because it is in IUCN Red List. It is under the endangered category, and the threats involved are bycatch. Now what happens when the farmers, they go fishing, they unknowingly catches Gangetic dolphin in the net. The pollution, because Gangetic dolphin also works at the pollution indicator or the environmental quality indicator, and the dams also inhibit, they kind of pose an obstacle to the migration of the Gangetic dolphin. Thus, and because river dolphins, they need to migrate from one location to the another within the river ecosystem, thus the migration is inhibited, and therefore their ability to spawn and therefore their ability to reproduce is impeded, and thus reducing the population of the dolphin in the river system. Let's look at the conservation status of the dolphin, Indian dolphin. We are talking about the Gangetic dolphin. It is also known as susu because when it breathes, it produces this sound, and that's why it is locally also known as susu. And There is another dolphin which is called as the Indus dolphin, which is also known as by the name Bhulan in India, in Pakistan and the Punjab Sindh region of the India, and Sindh region of Pakistan. Sorry, Sindh region is not in India anymore. So it is also known as Bhulan, and this is Indus water. There is one more freshwater species, that is Indus river dolphin, and we have Gangetic river dolphin, which is our national aquatic animal. So let's look at the conservation status now. In the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, it is under the Schedule 1. In the IUCN Red List, it is under the status endangered, and in sites it is under Appendix 1, and in CMS it is under Appendix 2. Now why these two appendix? See, for CMS, because it is in the Karnapula Sanghu river system also, which is the river system of Nepal. So that's why it is under the CMS Convention for the Migratory Species. Alright, so we have sites also in order to prevent the threat to the species at the international level. Let's move on to the next news of the day. The next news of the day is about that India is set to become Atmanirbhar with C-295 tactical transport aircraft. You can look at the picture here. In association with the Airbus and Tata, India is going to produce this 40 of this tactical transport aircraft. Now if we look at the features of this transport aircraft, it was originally produced by a Spanish aircraft manufacturer. It has a capacity of 5 to 10 tons, and it can attain a maximum speed of 480 km per hour. It has a rear ramp door. Now what is this rear ramp door? Now if you look at this position, when the aircraft is on ground, a ramp is open out. Now this ramp is used for the purpose of the transportation of material, goods, etc., of people when it comes to the evacuation. And because India runs a lot of evacuation mission, and it has conducted various evacuation missions recently, for example the Operation Ganga and Operation Devi Shakti, etc. So thus we did require a transport aircraft, a tactical transport aircraft, so as to modernize our armed forces and also enhance our strategic capabilities. So it does have a rear ramp door. It has a paratrooping system too. Now what happens, if you've seen in movies, then from the aircraft, let's just roughly draw an aircraft. You know, the paramilitary forces, they drop from above, and they then locate themselves at the strategic position where they were supposed to reach. So they paradrop from above. Like for example, in Operation Cactus, the Operation Cactus was conducted by India to prevent the military coup in Maldives in 1988. In that Operation Cactus, the Indian armed paramilitary forces, they dropped from above. That's what the paradropping is. The NSG commanders during the terrorist attack at the Hotel Taj also, they had paradropped from above. So paradropping facility is there, and it can also take off from the short runways. Generally the aircrafts they require long runways so as to achieve enough momentum, so as to gain enough momentum to take off. However, the shorter runways poses a problem of gaining the momentum. Therefore the pilots are trained in such manner, in such tactical takeoff, and also the planes should also be designed in a manner so as to achieve the maximum or enough momentum in the short runway. So these are some of the special features of this tactical transport aircraft which India is going to acquire. Now 16 of these, this is not forest, it is actually first. The first 16 of these aircrafts will be given in the flyaway condition. Sorry for the spelling mistake. This is condition, this is not co-diction, this is condition. So the first 16 of the aircrafts will be given in the flyaway condition. That means they will be ready to use basically. So they will be ready to use, and rest of the aircrafts will be manufactured in partnership with the Tatas. The components of the aircraft, they will be the fitting, etc. They will be procured from the Bharat Electronics Limited and Bharat Defense Limited, and they will be, the aircraft are going to replace the aging fleet of Afro 748 planes which entered the services in early 1960s, and they will be deployed in tough terrain such as Ladakh, Uttarakhand, etc., where there are frequent landslides, and they will be used for the purpose of evacuation, rescue, for the special missions such as the evacuation mission conducted in the countries of Afghanistan and countries like Libya, Qatar, etc. So for evacuation mission, for some special missions, for the maritime duties, etc., for the humanitarian and disaster relief that India or takes initiative. Now let's move on to the next news of the day. The Khangkhui caves in Manipur. Now the Khangkhui caves in Manipur, they were in the news for the reason that the forest department basically denied the planned extermination of the colonies of the bat who live in this who reside to be more specific, reside in the Manipur cave system. Now, what are these Khangkhui cave system in Manipur? The Khangkhui cave system in Manipur, they are known as the Khangkhui Magasor. Magasor is the term actually for the cave, in the local language of the Manipur. It consists of the four major caves, and they are made up of the limestone. Right, they're made up of the limestone, and they're used as shelter by the local people, and they were used as sheltered by the Japanese and the Indian forces during the World War II. Now locally they are believed that these caves, they are the abode of the protective deity, and the local community by the name Khangkhui community believe that they are the abode of their protective deity. And this Khangkhui community, they are the ethnic group who live along the Indo-Myanmar border. The cave actually larges the largest population of the Blythe horseshoe bat, and the archaeologists have discovered many important artifacts that belong to the Paleolithic culture from these caves. That's why these caves became very important to be discussed. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching Tarunayas. Have a nice day.